Should they have brought up the fact in the documentary that Dr. Jerry Graham also went completely insane and also had weird issues with, his mom?
With his mother?
Yeah. Considering he's such a big influence on Vince, I think they should have almost pointed out, it wasn't just this little part. He was also a complete drunk who did some of the craziest things ever.
Well, and of course, Vince was not, alcohol was not his issue, but the mother fixation of some description. Graham's was different in that, he always, of course, for the people who don't know what we're talking about, even though he was a proliferous womanizer and money waster and, just wore the suits and the Cadillacs and lit the cigars with the $100 bills and whole 9 yards, Jerry Graham always sent money home to his mother in Phoenix. And then when she died, or when she was in the hospital, he actually threatened the doctor nothing bad better happened to her. And then she died, and he went to the hospital with a shotgun and a hunting knife and broke into the place and
golf clubs,
and his son in the parking lot sitting in the car, and he fought his way to her room and where her body still was, and stole her body, had it over his shoulder, flinging orderlies against the wall. The cops were outside. They stopped him and apparently took repossession of the body, and he ended up I just want to take her home, he was screaming. And they would put him in the mental home for a period of time, and then somehow he convinced them, not too very long a period of time, that he was okay because he was charming like that. And then he found out that she had left all of her money to some wacky church, that he had left her all that time, and then he was penniless.
Was it a wacky church? I thought it was the Reverend Billy Graham. Funny enough, considering the last name.
Well, that wacky church, some televangelist, whatever the fuck, some scam. And then he pretty much was broke from that point on in his life.
That was Vince's hero. What do you think Dr. Jerry Graham thought? From his perspective, when all of a sudden the teenage son of Vince McMahon, the promoter, wants to ride around town with you and hang out, dyes his hair. I mean, did they even bring that up in there, that he bleached his hair? I don't remember if they mentioned it.
You know what? I think I seem to remember somebody may have said it in passing, but yeah, no, bleached blonde hair on Vince Jr. in the 50s. That had to be. It was the same thing they did with Sputnik Monroe in Memphis in 1959. All the kids in their high school yearbook had bleached blonde spots in the front of their hair.
But still, just the whole idea, Dad, can I talk to you? Vinny, I'm busy. Go hang out with Dr. Jerry Graham.
Yeah.
Go ride around town with Dr. Jerry Graham. What? How'd that happen?
I bet you that Vince Sr. found out about it after the fact. I wouldn't think that he would let anybody, go with, much less his 15-year-old son, go in a car with Jerry Graham.
Found out about it when he saw the hair.
But that's the thing, is still there was this just, flamboyance and extrovert showmanship and mental illness of various descriptions and involving mothers. There's got to be something there.
Yeah, and also you got to really think about him as one of the underrated, when you think about who he influenced, one of the most influential people, because an influence on the child Vince McMahon, obviously Eddie Graham spending as much time with Dr. Jerry Graham, and people did say he had good ideas, it's just he was a reckless drunk.
Yeah.
Who you couldn't trust.
And, would Eddie Graham have made the money to buy into the Florida territory if he hadn't had that 2-year run with Jerry Graham in the biggest territory in the country?
And right there you have two of the most influential bookers ever, Vince McMahon and Eddie Graham. No, I should say influential. Vince wasn't influential. Vince was powerful. One of the more powerful bookers.
Well, not even really booker, because he still never booked himself the nuts and bolts. He gave the direction. He set the feuds, but I don't know that you could ever call Vince the booker because he always had somebody handling the locker room from the earliest days.
Did he always set the feuds?
If the ones that mattered are the ones that were going to draw any money, or with the stars or the talent that he wanted to put on top, it was. If you had a great idea, he would listen to it, but he was pretty much saying, well, we're going to go from this guy to that guy and that guy to that guy for Undertaker or Shawn or Brett or whatever the era was, the top guys.